Hey there everyone, welcome, and I decided I wanted to do a bit of an unfiltered talk about Monster Force. The new line that a lot of people are clamoring about. And it's got some good, there's some bad that I notice people are skipping over, and there's some in between. So I'm going to structure this like a shit sandwich. In case you don't familiar with the concept, you put some good, we talk some bad, then we talk some good. Now, overall, the line is fairly good. I will give it that. The execution of these guys is pretty good. I think it's funny because what I ended up getting was this guy and this guy. This is Sleepwalker. This is the Delta Red Nocturnal, I believe. Yeah, I mean, there's a little bit of confusion because, and I'll get to that in just a minute, because some things need to be said. But, you know, overall, I kind of dig it. Now, you will notice I got the main villain, the main hero, and two army builders. That is on purpose. I did that purposefully for a reason. And what I've got, I like. I really do. I like this idea, you know, of something being so bad that a Van Helsing will ally with Dracula. That's kind of cool. I dig it. Okay. I'm not a huge vampire fan. I'm a bit of a horror fan. And so this does play to some of my likes. You know, I think this guy, the Forgotten King, is pretty damn awesome. What I like about him is it's unexpected that he'd be in a suit, because he's supposed to be a mummy or a forgotten pharaoh. I like the idea that, you know, I thought this is a good example of keeping it simple, stupid. In that, you know, you could have named him Katsukuwalo Huluga Kalala Kabenga, and that would have went over like a lead balloon, you know, because you couldn't pronounce his name. Forgotten King is simple. It's easy to remember. Haha. Ironic, isn't it? Yeah. And, you know, I think he's probably one of my favorite figures of the line, even though he's so simple. Actually, I like his simplicity. So, there's that. Okay. A lot of talked about the accessories. Now, somebody is missing here, and that is Mr. Dracula. Why is Mr. Dracula not in this lineup? Because he comes with two things, jack and shit. And for the price point we're getting, somebody should have thought of some stuff to give to this guy to make him a little bit more worthwhile. I was amazed that he got a sword and a couple of hands and a small head. That's it. Well, that's all he needs. But he costs the same as everybody else. So they're making a ton of money by making him a main character. You can argue this with the Forgotten King, but he has gloved hands, regular hands, and then translucent hands and spell effects. And he's got stuff for that staff. I mean, he's not got as much as these guys do, but he's got stuff to work with. So there's that. Now, you know, so I ultimately said I can't spend that much on that figure for nothing. I mean, there's no way. You gotta spice up the pot to get me to even think about it. So that is one of my first gripes, is Dracula. And I'm just refusing to pay that price. If he goes on sale, great. If not, I don't have a Dracula. I have plenty of substitute Draculas. I'm not worried about it. So I said this was going to be a shit sandwich, and I'm kind of already breaking the rules. Sorry. Declan, I mean, I like his weapons. It's cool. Very cool. I like him overall. At this point, I have not shot the sequence with declin for the Hordak AJ video, which is I know I'm going to hit some of these on that, but I know I'm not going to be able to talk. Some of this stuff needs some serious talking. And so, you know, that's why I decided to do this side video, just kind of an unfiltered video to get my real thoughts out. And yeah, so speaking of declin, now one thing that caught me is there's a lot of reuse here, okay? Now, granted, now the bottom halves are not, but there is a lot of reuse. So, you know, the plate carrier is pretty much the same. Granted, you can change out the plate carrier for the Delta Red. You know, there are options with that. Now with the Delta Red, the plate carrier and the options, I'll say it's a good idea, but it's a pain in the ass to work with. It's tough to get the parts out, and it's tough to get them back in there. I get it, and I applaud the effort, and maybe they'll get it better next time. So, but you know, and I get it. Declin should blend with these guys, even though he's a human, they're a vampire. See, grr. All right, but that's going to bring me to my big problem. So let me talk about that for a little bit. There are 9 figures total if you count the BBTS anniversary one. And there are basically 3, I guess declin could be 4 molds. That's really surprising to me. And I got to looking at it and I'm like, why? There are 3 versions of the Delta Red. The Nocturnal, Urban Ops, is it Night Ops? I'll look it up. But yeah, there's 3 versions of this. That's exactly the same figure from what I can tell. And of course he won't stay on his stand. How about that shit? So, right off the bat, we're dealing with 3 repaints. Total repaints, from what I can tell. I believe the Urban one, I could be wrong, comes with a Declin Van Helsing head and is an additional $2, making it an even 40. Nice job, guys. Nice job. Don't understand that either. I am not going to try to answer it. Now, the Delta Reds do come with a lot of shit, and there's a lot of customability and customizability in this. I'm not saying that. I'm not saying there isn't. But there's also the fact it's a straight repaint. And I know some people who love this line are going to come at me and say, well, Valiverse does repaints too. I'm going to do that in the voice that I give my cat. Valiverse does repaints too. And that's kind of why I wanted this unfiltered one, because I know I'm doing this in the AJ and Hordak, but AJ and Hordak go back and forth so much, and sometimes you can't tell if I'm joking or not. So, you know, let's talk about that fact for a minute. Okay. Boom. Boom. We have the first wave of Action Force. There is a lot of reuse in this line. Yes, you can tell. But it's all part swapped. It's different. It's not the same thing over and over. It's not a direct repaint. There's that. So, that is something to consider. The main direct repaints are the Swarm. There's a Swarm Trooper, the Wasp Raider, the Swarm Sentry, and forgetting Swarm Tracer. You can technically count in the Swarm Horde in that, but that was an exclusive, so you know, it depends on how you look on exclusives. So I kind of include exclusives, so there I am. And I can't stay on my stand. This is weird because he was doing fine earlier when I first put him on. So, yeah. So, yeah, there are direct repaints, but I want you to think about something. Swarm Trooper was in Wave 1. There was a re-release in Special Deployment, if I'm remembering. I'm doing this off the top of my head, okay? So if I'm getting this wrong, don't actually me. Wave 2 had the Swarm Sentry. The Swarm Horde was much later in PowerCon exclusive. And then the Swarm Tracer is the most recent one in Series 4. So that was over 4 series of figures versus the first wave. You get the difference. There's a lot of the same thing in the first wave. I could have dealt with this if it was spread out over a couple of waves. I would have been down with it. That's good. The fact the first wave has 3 repaints of the same character, same army builder I should say, kind of makes me go, what? Because, that's the other thing. I might pick up one of the Urban Ops ones to be a squad leader for these guys if I army built them. Brings me to my other point. And this is something we don't know yet. How is this being handled? Because Fresh Monkey Fiction has a model that I'm going to say first and foremost drives me fucking nuts. I really wanted the 1/18th versions of these two. Of Declan and Forgotten King and the Sleepwalker. Well, it wasn't the Sleepwalker, was it? It was the Red Shadow, not Red Shadow. Yeah. So I really wanted those. The model they use for the Eagle Force line, where Monster Force was appearing in, it's on a pre-order system, and once it's done, it's done. They don't restock. There's not hardly any in stock of Eagle Force, which is weird to me because I really wanted the 1/18th versions. Of course, I didn't get them because one thing I really hate is BBTS can never get a freaking shipping date right. It comes in unexpected. Boom, I'm hit right when I might need to buy groceries. Yeah, okay. And I can't put too many things on pre-order. None of this was on pre-order. I noticed this all stayed in stock, and as of this recording, this is all in stock at BBTS. That's different, but it's not normal for Fresh Monkey Fiction. Of course, you have to look at the fact Big Back Workshop is a part of this. So, that might be changing the rules. But we don't know that. But marketing would help here, guys. Conversely, this guy. Apologies, I got a message from everybody's buddy, it's Chad. We're just talking about a little bit of things that we're seeing somewhere, and I might do a video on that too. Anyway, this is of the army builders. This is my favorite. I like it. Like the concept, like the idea, like the look. More, and it's not about just being red shadows of red shadows. And this is another case again. If, this guy's been repainted 3 times. The heavy weapons, the elite, and this guy. This is probably my favorite. I just like the red. I would, again, spread that out over time. I would probably buy a couple more of these, and then later the black one as a leader. That would be cool. But throwing it all out there at once, and I'm not knowing how long it's going to be there, and it's already a little bit more expensive than most toy lines. It's $37. Yes, I'm going to get to that. That is a bit much for me too. So, again, I'm like sitting here going, what is going on? It's like there's a great idea here But this execution is leaving me a little bit down. Again, I won't say I won't buy more, but you know, this is pricey shit, man. And I gotta say, you know, it's $37. I hear people quoting 35, and I'm like, no, it's 37. It's $36.99 everywhere I look. You know, every time I look at it, it's $36.99. I do remember it being $35 when they were first brought out, and I thought that was a bit steep. I think 37 is way too steep. You know, I can't just, you know, yeah, they got a lot of shit with them, but, you know, I think you could have spread those accessories out. I think you could have brought, you know, the heavy weapons with this head and the green eyes. And you could have a head pack that has these with these repaints. I think that could have worked real well. And spread those accessories out too, because, you know, with this guy especially, I thought it was a bit too much. Just too much for what you got. There's all these hoses and backpacks and everything, and it really tests the limits of. And I get you want customizability, and I get people want to make it their own. But my God, I mean, how many options do you need with one figure? It's a little overwhelming. I'm just going to be honest about it. And it feels like I don't know what to do with these. And my daughter is distracting me, and if you hear her, I apologize. Because she's on the monitor. I've got it turned down, but I can hear her playing in the day. And she's playing before bed. But, you know. So, I'm shitting on the line. And do I hate it? No, I don't. I like it. But I have to be very, very honest. I don't feel passionate enough about it to really go heavy into it. Right now, I'm thinking I might get one or two more of him and one or two more of him. Get a squad leader, and I might stop right there. Seriously. There's the guy with the brain to doctor something or another. He's another one that looks cool. I think that's awesome. Wait, what the fuck? Where's his accessories? He has no accessories. He's the same as Dracula. Got, you know, a basic weapon, some hands. It's like, what are you doing? Couple observations too. I'm noticing that, you know, a lot of people buying this is people really into G.I. Joe. Okay, I get it. They're calling it a military line. I say that says otherwise. Honestly, I say that says otherwise, and I say that says otherwise. Oh yeah, you can pretend it's a military line, but let's face it, this is like a sci-fi kind of aesthetic. This is not a military thing. Now some people go, oh well, G.I. Joe does that too. Yeah, they do. Yeah, I'll give you that. But that is almost like a 1950s mad scientist kind of thing. It's kind of out there. I dig it. I dig that idea. I think it works. This is Blade 2. I'm telling you right now. This is Blade 2 in a nutshell. You know, I mean, this is the guys they train to go after Blade. I mean, that's it. That's who Delta Red is. I felt it right off the bat. I'm like, yeah, I mean, they're just not characters. It's just dudes dressed up and ready to go. You know, again, that's not a bad thing. You know, I think that's a good, I'm telling you what, I think they could have done a 5 to 6 figure wave and cut out some of those repaints, save those repaints for later waves. I think I would feel a lot better about this line. I really do. Now, some people are going to say, no, don't do that. I'm like, you know, when you do flat repaints in a toy line, to me, this is me talking, me, it shows a lack of, well, honestly, creativity. I mean, it shows a lack of imagination. And that is my biggest thing with this line. It's like, cool ideas, where's the imagination behind them, you know? I always thought the differing troopers in Cobra were really interesting. And they had different specialties, and they looked different, and they had different accessories, and da-da-da-da-da. This is, yeah, you got a lot of different accessories. Make it, you know, you decide how it works. That's not quite the same thing. Now, some people like that, and that is fine. I'm speaking for myself. I'm speaking about this. Now, again, do I hate this line? No. Not at all. This is not Action Force to me. It's not grabbing me the way Action Force did. And I'm telling you why. It's not that, you know, it couldn't grab me in some way. It needs to spread some of this stuff out and not try to bombard me with 3 molds and 9 figures. You know, people, and that's the thing, the people who have made the joke about Vala only having 3 molds, with 3 molds, he did more than this did. He didn't give us a lot of straight repaints. Steel Brigade, oh my. You know, of course Steel Brigade's a straight repaint. Duh. You know, the basic troopers, yeah. Yeah, but they also gave them all different equipment, and you could mix and match, and da-da-da-da-da-da. I always said Valaverse pleases the guy in me who is like, I want to keep all my accessories with my same guys to make sure nothing ever happens. And he pleased that guy that's like, I'm going to tear all this shit apart and put it back together again. He made both of those people happy. And that's why that line is so strong. That's why it's going so strong. That's why it's going to keep going strong. This right out of the gate, for a guy like me, who doesn't do a whole lot of customizing. I mean, here's my custom right here. That's the Reaper. I put a Steel Brigade head on him and gave him a Steel Brigade plate carrier. That's it. I mean, that's the extent of my customizing in the modern era. I did customizing a long time ago, 3 3/4 inch. I'm not 100% against it. What happened was, I ended up with so many damn parts that it got overwhelming. So, it's not that I'm against customizing, it's just I know the rabbit hole. And I would prefer not to go down it again. That's what I'm saying. Alright, so in summation. Alright, the line's good. It's got its good qualities. I don't hate it. But it is overpriced. That can be a problem. So you have to weigh those options and think, okay, what do I want to do here? Now I know somebody is going to get in the comments and say, oh, but price is relative. Relative to what? Relative to what you're willing to pay. Yeah, that's true. And relatively, I don't like paying for overpriced figures. But it's a small company. Okay, Fresh Monkey Fiction has been around for a long time. They are an established company. And I'm kind of weirded out by their model, I have to say. Because they apparently don't have the capital to start up their own lines, and they look for crowdfund to help them do it. Which is kind of weird. Because we've seen companies in under 2 years get to the point where they can do big ass vehicles. Why isn't Fresh Monkey Fiction doing that? I'm confused by that. Now, how long has they been around? They've been around. Look, I remember them from before my little exile from the toy space. I mean, that was bare minimum 11 years ago. I looked back on their Instagram. It goes back to 2016. So yeah, the company's been around. So again, I wonder, why would you work exclusively with one store? I don't know. I don't understand. It confuses me. It confounds me. I'm saying it. I don't understand that. Okay. That's out of the way. Now, the bulk of it is, I think this is as far as I'm getting in this line. It's not that it's a bad line. It's that there's good ideas with some poor execution. The constant repaints, the redos, right out of the gate. I give Hasbro hell for this. How many repaints of the bats do we have? I mean, come on. That's ridiculous. I know people are going to say it because other companies do the same thing. Yeah, dude, but you know what? I can look over at Animal Warriors of the Kingdom and be like, yeah, I know they're using the same bodies on these figures, but they're doing different stuff with the armor and with the heads. And I mean, there's with the exception of Pale and Blight, who Blight is supposed to be a freaking clone of Pale, so that tracks. Again, it's not fitting. A small company is Savage Crucible, okay? And they're doing new molds every wave. So, again, this doesn't track. Anyway, that's kind of my unfiltered thoughts on Monster Force. That I feel like has been more than 2 years in the waiting. I feel like it's been almost 3. And that's a bit much too, because, my God, that's a long wait. I actually lost interest in this line in the amount of time it took them to get it to production. So, I mean, I like what I got. Don't get me wrong. I do like what I got. But I don't see me going any further. It's good, but it's not the be-all, end-all that I think some people are making it out to be. And that's going to ruffle some feathers, and I'm good with it, because you know what? That's what I do. I tell the truth as I see it. And that's that. Okay, so that'll wrap up this second look at Operation Monster Force. How many times have I taken a line and done 2 looks at it? That's weird. Anyway, thank you for watching. Don't forget to do the YouTube stuffs. And I know you're going to make comments, and that's fine, dude. We can agree to disagree, but be respectful. Come on. You guys take care.